Good evening. Today's Bible study comes from the book of Mark, chapter 14, verses 53 through 65, and it reads as follows. They took Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests, the elders, and the teachers of the law came together. Peter followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest. There he sat with the guards and warmed himself at the fire. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for evidence against Jesus so they could put him to death, but they did not find any. Many testified falsely against him, but their statements did not agree. Then some stood up and gave this false testimony against him. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days will build another, not made with hands. Yet even then their testimony did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus, Are you not going to answer? What is the testimony that these men are bringing against you? But Jesus remained silent and gave no answer. Again the high priest asked him, Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? I am, said Jesus, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven. The high priest tore his clothes. Why do we need any more witnesses? He asked. You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think? They all condemned him as worthy of death. Then some began to spit at him. They blindfolded him, struck him with their fists, and said, Prophesy. And the guards took him and beat him. Oh boy, Jesus is in front of the Sanhedrin, and that's the smartest of the smarts, of course. And it starts off in 53 saying they took Jesus to the high priest. Now, I may read the Bible a little differently than you do and find some of the humor and some of the things that the word says, but how you take Jesus to the high priest? Jesus is the high priest. So I find that to be comical, but if you say it in man's words, they took him to a person who thought he knew something. And all the chief priests, all these other big shot priests, the elders, and the teachers of the law came together. You even had teachers of the law? And who were they talking to? Just bringing that up. Peter followed him at a distance. Peter was still going with him, right into the courtyard of the high priest. He was there. And he sat down with the guards and warmed himself at the fire. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. They didn't have anything on him. Jesus wasn't guilty of anything. Loving us, showing compassion, healing, preaching, teaching, miracles. Ooh, I'm sorry. Those are all those bad, guilty things. Yeah. So the chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for evidence against Jesus so they could put him to death. But as the verse says, but they did not find any. What do you find in flawless? Nothing. Many testified falsely against him. They lied, but their statements did not agree. Tell a lie and let it keep going. It ain't going to agree. Don't lie. Then some stood up and gave false testimony against him. Perjury. If you was in modern day courts, that's perjury. But they were telling false testimony. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days we'll build another not made with hands. Well, yeah, he did say that, but you just didn't understand what he said. He made it simple by confusing you with simplistic things because you know so much. Yet even their testimony did not agree with it. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus, Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you? He asking Jesus some questions. First of all, why didn't you say anything? Why haven't you said anything? There was no need for Jesus to say anything. There was no need. You were accusing him. You were putting things out, but the truth of the matter, there was no need for him to say anything. You had already tried and were trying to incriminate him on lies, so there's no need for us to respond to a lie. What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you? He asked Jesus. But as it says, Jesus remained silent and gave no answer. No need. Again, the high priest, once again we got this title. The high priest asked him, are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? Jesus answers, because you asked a question that was truthful. The question was, are you the Messiah? Yes, he is. The Son of the Blessed One? Yes, he is. So what did Jesus say? I am. His Father is I am, said Jesus. And you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven. Not only did Jesus tell him who he is, but he told him about a futuristic situation. Because he says, and you will see the Son of Man, meaning Jesus, sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One. We all gonna see that. And coming, he's coming back, coming on the clouds of heaven. Whoa. So Jesus frazzled him. He threw some futuristic stuff to him. This is something he probably could have called up and tried to get a tarot reading, but they can't read or see nothing that the Lord sees and says. And he said, I am, because you asked me a truthful question. So I'll answer that. And you will see the Son of Man, you will see me sitting right next to my Father, the Mighty One. I'll be at the right hand of the Mighty One. And you already know he's going to be on the right side because he told you where his sheep will be at. And he will be coming on the clouds of heaven. So he's telling you about the future. So the high priest tore off Jesus' clothes. And he said, why do we need any more witnesses? We don't need any more witnesses. I find him guilty, he asked him. You have heard the blasphemy. So he was guilty in this high priest's eyes. He had done blasphemy unto God in his mind. What do you think? What do you think, man, that's going to judge Jesus? All power and authority has been given to the one that you're getting ready to judge. And you going to judge him. This is what makes this comical. Because the high priest, you going to judge him, he going to have the last laugh. They all condemned him as worthy of death. Why wouldn't man in his shallow, insecure, unfulfilled, unknowledgeable, closed, limited mind not condemn him worthy of death? We ain't found him guilty, but you're guilty. How that make sense? Then some began to spit at him. My grandmother used to say that's the worst thing you could do to a person. I used to think it was a new dental plan for people if you spit on me. But they spit at him. They blindfolded him. Now, this blindfold is really relevant because when you see something coming, it ain't as bad as when you don't see it coming. You know, when I was little, they used to call it a sucker punch because somebody had run up and sock you when you wasn't looking. And it hurt a lot more than if you saw it coming and you could do something about it. So they blindfolded him and then they struck him with their fists. Sucker punch. And said, prophesy. Woo, antagonist. Look at them. They got an answer to the one that they spit on and struck. And the guards took him. And what did they do? They beat him. And what did they beat him for? For being innocent. For not having faults. For not being found guilty, but the high priest wanted to be guilty. For blasphemy. For blasphemy. What blasphemy? For knowing who his Father is? For knowing who he is? For his silence because there's no need to respond to a lie? And then you got mad because he responded to a truth, we all got to answer. Amen.